All right, this is One Last Midnight. Welcome back to another episode of Autonauts. Now, I went and I did the training videos, and I really hadn't been playing, and this is where I had got to before I started doing the training videos. And you can see my base is really, really crazy. I think, yeah, total number of bots, I'm into 400 now, and you can see them running around like little ants. They all have their specific jobs and they're doing their things. But what's been the big changes from going from Civilization 5 to Civilization 6? Well, first of all, the housing had to change. And with the change to the housing required a change to add education into the house. So, oh, I think I picked this. I picked the guy up. There was a change to add education in the house. You can see it in the lower right-hand corner. There was an upgrade to the medicine. There was an upgrade to the toy and the clothing and the food. And so I had to turn around and make that change. You can see the medicine here is moving. Even with the bot, it's moving very, very slowly to get to its recipient. So inside of my clothing area, my clothing tier 6 was the shirt. And that wasn't too hard because I was already making a tunic here. To go from the tunic to the shirt was rather easy because it was just one additional item. Actually, two additional items. It was the bulrush thread and the bulrush cloth. I did have to, in order to be able to do that, and I temporarily, if you guys remember before, had kind of a bulrush area up here. I finished that off, and I'm making the bulrush cloth and the thread in this particular area, and that wasn't too hard to set up because, like I said, it was already halfway kind of done. The other thing that I had to set up, which was an amazing pain in the butt, was the education. So the simple small book, you actually have to put down a lot of things. The book in and of itself takes ink, and you need to have charcoal, which is a production line by itself. And then you also had to have some water and clay jars. So if you're not making clay jars, then you have to add that into your whole clay production line. And then you have to have a printing press, which makes paper. So that takes logs and fresh water, it makes paper, and with those products, then you're able to make a simple book. And of course, like I said, a simple book is needed because it's the education piece for the tier 6 guys. The other thing they had to change was my food line. I needed to go to tier 6 food. Now, tier 6 food is a cake, and in order to make tier 6 food, you have to have the carrot cake raw batter being made. So you can see I have a bunch of that being made right here. You completely leave the whole carrot cake process. Like the carrot cake raw, you have honey roasted glazed carrots, which was already part of this production line. But the carrot curry and naan, it's completely discarded. At this point, you don't need the carrot curry and naan. I can actually break these down and use these for something different. So I was a little bit, discouraged with that. I was hoping that item would turn into something else, but it's actually the tier 4 item that gets converted into the cake batter, and then you bake the cake, and the cake is the tier 6 item for food. Going the carrot route, going carrot food route was probably the best decision that I made. I was at, if you watch this from the beginning, I was at berries, and berries just wasn't cutting it. It wasn't fast enough. It wasn't producing enough. And so I had to bail out and go to the carrot route. If you watch the last video that I did on the update on this progress, you'll notice that I put in the carrots and the pumpkins in order to start the whole carrot food production line. And that'll carry me all the way into tier 7. So I was happy to make that change. A little disappointed about the curry naan, though. The other change that had to be made was the toys. Now, the toys was an easy change, actually, because I was already making the Jack-in-the-Box. It starts at the doll, and you make the Jack-in-the-Box. And then from the Jack-in-the-Box, you wind up making the dollhouse. And the dollhouse is the tier 6 item. So that production line wasn't that hard because it was just one additional worker, one additional station, and they have most of their items right here, and they just gather them up and they make the dollhouse. You can see that all the tier 6 items are really hard to move, even for the tier 3 bots. Medicine was the other thing that I needed, and I had to make a pretty decent sized change for medicine because even though I was producing the leeches as a tier 5 item, to turn around and make the placebo required a bunch of flowers. So I not only does it use the leeches, but I had to have my flower production, and I got some flower production going on. So that was a lot of bots to do the flower production and Also to make the change from leeches to the placebo to get the medicine up and running for the tier 6 guys. But then once you had all those pieces, you have tier 6 production, and they're producing, what was it, the 100,000 WUV. And honestly, once I got this configured up and they were producing 100,000 WUV, I have no more research. All my research has been completed. There's nothing left. I'm not in the tier 7 and I'm completely done. These 10 million ones were no problem once you got into the 100,000 WUV. You were knocking millions off in, a matter of like 10 minutes, and it was ridiculous how fast I went through this level 6 research. And you're, if you're playing this game, you're like, it's so daunting looking at these numbers, 10 million, 10 million, 10 million. How am I going to get to 10 million? Especially if you're producing like level 4 WUV or level 5 WUV. It's like, oh, it's going to take a long time to get even just one of those knocked off. Once you get to 6, like I said, no biggie whatsoever. Now, as for the other pieces to the education, the academy, I've got pretty much all the academy certificates. I've got all the items except for 2. So I still have the farming of the silkworms that needs to be completed, and that is tier 7 clothing. And then I have the colonist tier 7, get them cultured, which is, I believe, since I have a tier 7 castle down, it's right here, and they take art. You can see in the lower right-hand corner, the last item is some sort of form of art, and that's going to be a production line I'm going to have to make, as well as upgrading all the other items as well. But that was it for the certificates. There is a produce, a million WUV, and I don't think that that's going to be a problem. It's like 1,000 million WUV that I have to produce. And right now, I'm not really doing anything with WUV. It's just sitting and getting stored in a storage container. Eventually, I will have to either, I guess, stop feeding these guys things or just destroy the WUV, because I'm not going to have massive amount of storage containers laying around just to store items that I don't need. This base is, it's working like clockwork. There's very little that I have to do to maintain this. Really, the core to this is the log storage, the logs, the planks, the poles, and the pegs. If that ever goes down, the entire production line goes down, as well as food for the colonists. If that ever goes down for any reason, then the colonists stop producing WUV. But otherwise, these guys are just, they're just doing it. There was a change that I made to the farm because I needed a lot of butter. So I put down a bunch of butter churns, and I doubled up my cow farm, and now I have a significant amount of fertilizer and a significant amount of milk being made. And I actually wind up throwing away milk because I have too much milk. Other than that, that has been the major changes to the base from going into tier 6. I'm going to have to start working on tier 7 and try to get the tier 7 guys done. It does say I'm in tier 7 because I put down a house and I have one guy living in there, but I'm not really doing tier 7 production lines. I don't know what the last one is. I have no idea what the last level is and when I get the last level unlocked, so I'm looking forward to doing that. And then also the other thing that I'm not really doing that much of is I'm not really doing the spaceport stuff and the off-world jobs. And the off-world jobs, again, they give you coins. If you look in the lower right-hand corner, by completing a task, it gives you coins. And this is kind of nice because if you have surplus stuff, you can just ship this stuff off and get those coins. Otherwise, these change once you complete them or once you delete it. Like this one, the bots, I probably won't do that, so I'll decline this job. And then that job will change into something else. So once a knitted beanie, 51 knitted beanies. And so you just keep doing these products. You accumulate a mass quantity of coins, and then the coins can be used to purchase items over here, which are, well, they say tokens, so it's not coins. So you have little items, like you have different whistles that you can use. You can have different cowbells that you can use. There's different hats that you can wind up getting. There's different bot variants that you can wind up doing as well, and also different clothing. And then there's some additions to the castle, which I thought were kind of interesting. I don't know if the sand castle is a livable castle for the guys or not. I'm real curious about that one. And then also you have like additional like tower walls and gates and stuff like that, so you can build yourself a really cool castle for each one of these guys, a really nice house if you want to go that route. And that's kind of on the expensive side. That's 30 tokens per, so that's at least 3 deliveries per to get those unlocked. So I have most of the items. I just scrolled down through this and noticed that there are 2 items that I don't really have. I don't have the 7-tier wonder, which is the ancient stone circle, allows you to control the speed of time itself, which is actually cool because there are no speed controls in the game, I guess, until you get to this. And then there's this other thing, which is the pyramid. And I said I don't know what happens at the last level, but I guess this is part of it because it says a special shelter and gateway to transcend for colonists. So I'm making the assumption that you build this, and it's actually on the same line as all the colonist housing. I guess you put the colonists in and they disappear. I don't know. So that's gonna be cool. I wonder when that unlocks. I have no idea when that unlocks, but like I said, I'm looking forward to figuring out how it unlocks. Most everything else, except for those, I think those 2 items and the special items. Oh, no, I thought charcoal was blackened, but I have it all. I have everything. This one's grayed out. Motorboard. I have no idea how I get that one. I'm gonna have to go back and look through it. All the food's been done. All the building parts and pieces have been done. There's this last level bot variant 4. Might be one of the last 2 academic stuff that I haven't done. And the tools. Yeah, so I'm almost completed with this game. It's been a lot of fun. If I ever... I mean, I'm going to finish it. I don't know if I'll play it again, but if I ever do play it again, I think what I would probably do is spread my village out. I mean, it's really condensed right now. There's some arguments for that, and there's some arguments against that, because you really want goods close to one another so that you can build items more quickly. But man, is it compacted. If you put it all in a one big city like I did, it's really, really compacted. So if you make a mistake, like let's say I didn't leave enough room for this area, which I didn't. I did not leave enough room for this area. So what do? You'd have to break everything down and start again. So I probably wouldn't be doing that. I wouldn't be breaking things down and starting all over again. I'd probably just move the storage out of the way so I can stick another piece in here. But spreading out your town, probably a lot smarter. I did have some growing pains. I did wind up doing exactly what I said you shouldn't do, which is, breaking stuff down and spreading it out. Wasn't really the best thing to do. So the lessons learned from, playing this game for so long is make sure you have enough space. Make sure you're able to grow with your community and stuff. Yeah, but other than that, I mean, it's been a really fun game. So I'll give you guys another update when I get to Tier 7 and show you the final transcending. I don't know how much I'm going to do of the spaceport stuff because that's just kind of tedious. But we'll see. All right, so that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that like button. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. Would love to have you in the community. You want to follow me on any of my social media, you can find the links in the description below. And make sure to hit that notification bell. That way you know when I go live and when I post new videos. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.